Parker Stoker. It is Sunday, March the 22nd. I'm interviewing Parker from Aiken, South Carolina, and Parker is in Columbia, South Carolina. He is a PhD student, which means he is both taking classes and teaching classes at USC Columbia. And the real reason we're checking in with him today is I really want to know, because I don't get to see you that much, you're awful busy. What is going on in your life now that the coronavirus has gotten much more serious in South Carolina? The number of cases has, like everywhere else, has started to pick up. And the first few cases at University of South Carolina, Columbia have actually positive tests have been discovered. So really, Parker, question number one, in your world of Columbia, South Carolina, what are the state of affairs? What are the restrictions that are affecting you and your fiancée, Caroline?
Well, in terms of stuff that has affected us, Caroline is working from home now, as are most people in town. I am. Campus is closed, officially closed throughout the semester. So we've transitioned to teaching classes online and taking classes online. Actually, just earlier today, I printed out and completed a test for my old English class and scanned it and emailed it back to my teacher. And tomorrow morning, we'll have class over Skype for Old English. And I've got my students posting on discussion boards and emailing back and forth questions about their papers they're writing. So the transition has been okay, relatively smooth. And really the only other difference is around town. I mean, it's quieter with most of the students out of town. Grocery stores are not too picked over, but some of the essential supplies are starting to dwindle, or at least you got to get there in the morning to get them. But it's we've had nice weather here, and so we've been trying to make the best of it, enjoying ourselves at home.
And you've got a new dog, Whitby. Are there still places to be able to take the dog and maintain social distancing? Has that been pretty easy for you guys, or has it been a challenge yet?
That's been easy so far. We're actually feeling quite lucky about our timing in adopting this dog about 2 weeks ago, knowing I would be home for spring break, but not knowing that I would be home for the rest of the semester. Yeah, we live close to a couple big parks, which haven't been closed yet or anything. The only restrictions in town are, I think, 11 p.m. curfew, which is after our bedtime anyway, so it doesn't really affect us. But yeah, we've got a couple big parks that we take her to walk, and it's easy to keep your distance from other people. Even played some ultimate frisbee on the course there, and yeah, it hasn't felt too restrictive yet, I guess.
Good. Now, you haven't had to teach classes online before. Is this a new thing for you? Is this sort of a somewhat of a positive of the coronavirus impact, that you have had to kind of reach out of your comfort zone and learn new things as a teacher?
Yeah, it's a good way of thinking of it. That myself and all of my colleagues are having to sort of modernize ourselves a little bit. And I'll say that pretty much all the classes I've ever taught have involved digital components. We use Blackboard a lot. That's where students turn in their assignments, and we post a lot of the resources for them on that site. So the centrality of that has kind of helped because it's still our central clearinghouse for class. It's just that we don't see each other anymore. Yeah. I've got too many students to try to wrangle them all into a Skype session, but we've been able to use the online forums through Blackboard, and I already made a lot of use of Microsoft's Word's comment features and tracking changes in their papers. So it's really kind of emphasizing those elements that we already were using some.
So on another personal note, I know you guys you and Caroline have had to start discussion about a possible change in your plans for the end of May. You guys are planning to get married down here in Aiken, and you don't have to disclose everything on this interview, but what a time to have plans for people to come in from all over the country for a wedding. Is this something weighing heavily on the two of you, and have you had to start thinking about what to do in case the restrictions haven't been lifted and this thing begins to be abated a little bit, or where are you guys at and having to deal with this?
Yeah, that's probably the worst part of this for us so far. Yeah, our wedding is scheduled for May 30th in Aiken, and last I saw, the no gathering policy extends through like May 15th. So we understand that it's very unlikely that we would be able to go through with the wedding on the 30th, but we're holding a little bit of hope. But realistically, we'll probably have to postpone the party and the ceremony. But we'd like to have the ceremony as soon as we can with family in attendance, and then have the party sometime after that. So we're still sort of in a holding pattern, but pretty soon we'll have to start making decisions because obviously people have booked flights and hotel rooms and that sort of thing that they may need to cancel soon. So we shall see. Stay tuned, folks.
Now, on another note, I always look for silver linings, as you know. There's always something positive somewhere. Jenny and I have started watching shows we haven't watched before. We spent more time with the dogs and the cat. Anything positive coming out of this isolation with you and Caroline and Whitby? Things you're doing differently that you wouldn't have done that you find, hey, this is not so bad after all, or this is pretty cool. Are there any silver linings that you found?
Yeah, I mean, we've been spending more time all together, and we're not sick of that yet. We've been playing more games. We kind of made a point of wanting to play more games instead of just watching more TV. That we have done that. We've seen a few movies that we've been wanting to see. But we went out a little while back, knowing that this was upcoming, and purchased some athletic supplies, a couple of frisbees, soccer ball, football. So Caroline, the former college soccer player, has been teaching me some skill drills in our backyard. We've been playing some, board games and stuff like that. Belle and Nick introduced us to the Mexican train dominoes not long ago, so we've been playing that a lot in the evenings. So we're keeping ourselves entertained, staving off boredom as much as we can.
I've got a couple of writer friends that I've done some interviews with, and they say the isolation has its rewards. You tend to have less distractions if you can focus yourself, in the room and get on with your writing. The almost 100% in agreement is that there is such a concern to look at social media to see what is the latest news going on around around the country, around the world, the latest press conference. What is the latest information that we need to know? And it seems that it sounds great having the creative process being aided by isolation, but nonetheless curious. We want to know what's going on, and sometimes that'll get in the way. Do you find any of that in your preparation for your classes or any of your own writing that you're doing for the classes that you're taking? Any kind of distractions of the horrors of the world around you interrupt that flow?
Well, to be honest, I am not all that active on social media, and I kind of get a lot of my news from family and friends. It filters down to me when something is important enough that one of y'all tells me about it, then I know about it. So it's a little weird to admit, but the hardest thing for me was was when I first heard that my spring break had been extended for a week. I was pretty excited about that, and then I realized, all the changes that it was going to entail for the rest of the semester. So it's a sort of a change in mindset was necessary. So I have been able to turn it into a pretty productive time. I think, there is this opportunity to get a lot of work done at home, and I tend to like that. I work well in this situation, but I don't have the usual day-to-day outlets that I had for, going out and socializing, teaching class, seeing people, getting that sort of energy from that. So that's where I've had to sort of make the biggest change, I guess, in my day-to-day practices, is to make a point to go outside with the dog, kick a ball around with Caroline, something like that. So a long way of saying that no, I haven't really suffered from that sort of intrusion from the news, but rather have had to kind of make sure that I don't enjoy myself too much while I'm at home.
Well,
stay productive and
just
stay
remember
active.
from the movie The Shining, and I think you sound like you guys got it. All work and no play makes Jack a very dull boy. We don't
That's
want you
right.
to turn you into a Jack Nicholson with the axe.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
hopefully that won't happen. But listen, thank you for your time, and take care and give my best to Caroline and to Whitby.
Will do. Love you very much, Dad. Good talking to you.
Care. Bye bye.
Bye.